Hi, Emily. So
Hi.
Emily is one of, you know what, Emily, I'll let you maybe introduce yourself, and we've got the four judges that will be adjudicating the competition.
Very nice. Thanks so much. Yeah, my name is Emily Knight, and I'm the Entrepreneur Development Officer at the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Mount Royal University. So we have three of our students pitching today. I'm super excited to see them and cheer them on today. So thanks so much for judging and taking the time to do this.
Great. And we also have Ray. Hi, joining us as well. Ray,
Hi, all.
you've got, you know, Emily and you know myself, but we've got four other judges. Maybe I'll get you, we've got 2 minutes left. Can I get you to do, because you're an amazing steward of entrepreneurship in Calgary, and I'll get the other judges to do a quick intro once you're done yours.
Yeah, I've been running the Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Mount Royal for over 8 years now, which blows me away. Before that, I was one of you. I was an entrepreneur, and I know how hard that is. So huge amount of respect there. Yeah, we're a very student-focused organization. We're more worried about developing the student into something that will either be a long-term entrepreneur, a short-term incredible employee, all of the above. So that's been our focus for the last 8 years. And I'm sure Emily has done a good job of telling you all about us. So I'll drop it at that.
Great, thank you. So we have, maybe I'll just, if you guys can do maybe a quick 20-second intro to Ray and Emily, and then I will bring in Kevin. Jessica, would you like to start?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I work at CBRE on the sales and transaction advisory team, mainly dealing with office space, but I'm the marketing lead. So my role kind of is more to do with marketing automation strategies, a little bit of data analytics, and just like overall brand strategy. Yeah.
Great. Aaron?
Just quickly, Aaron Swanson, about 15 years in capital markets on the finance side. Just recently joined kind of a small medium business startup last year, so about a year into it. And really the focus of our business is helping small, medium businesses access debt capital, whether it be for acquisitions or growth or just having trouble accessing capital from traditional measures. So we step in and help facilitate that.
And Carly?
Hi, everyone. Carly Panelik. I'm the CEO of a company called Nextera, and we work with companies that want to grow and scale. So we help them on their operations using pre-built AI models to expedite operations and streamline their company. And then we focus on new market development, growth opportunities, enhancing sales, all the good stuff.
Thank you. And Leslie?
Hey, I'm Leslie Kratz. I'm president, owner of Federal Metals Incorporated, responsible for a variety of activities, like any owner is, all over the macro strategic direction and daily management of the operations. Also, I'm the founding partner of Crow Software Solutions, which kind of developed out of this original company, the Scrapyard. And it's a business management solution that utilizes advanced cloud-based technology, provides interactive, user-friendly dispatching, customer fleet and asset management solution. I'm in that regards, I'm responsible for brand design on that business, venture financing, and high-level decision-making for the enterprise. I'm also the executive director for Thirsty Naturals, which is an innovative line of gender-neutral, natural body care products targeting the tween and teen market.
Kevin, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm just going to share my screen, and I will not be able to see you guys when I do this. So if somebody could shout at me if they could see my presentation, that would be great.
We can see it.
All right, thank you. So my name is Kevin Lee, and this is Move, which is a new alternative to the waste removal industry. And the problem came to me in my first year of university when I was in charge of helping my friend move out of his place that he was renting, and his landlord wanted a bunch of stuff gone. And So we just started breaking everything down and got it all ready. And then we realized that we didn't even have a vehicle that we could drive. And for some unspoken reasons, we could not drive. So we ended up having to reach out to some waste removal companies in the Lethbridge area, and we connected with them, and they were all trying to charge us a massive price. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we can't be there today, or if you want us to be there, we're gonna have to charge you X amount of dollars," which was actually pretty insane. And so we had no choice to do it, and we got overcharged like $400 for some simple waste to be removed. And it helped me recognize the home waste removal market is dominated by large chains who will take advantage of their customer when they're in their time of need. So the first problem would be price. So junk removal companies recognize that they have the ability to charge an inflated price just to get the service done. Most of them are not even available. You have to book sometimes weeks in advance. And when they get there, it's kind of hard to say no. I can think of one company, and they're actually pretty big, and they load up their trucks, and then they get the estimate, and it's like, wow, all my stuff is in the truck. So I kind of have to say yes. And this brings me on to the solution. So the solution actually did not come to me right after I found the problem. It came to me the summer after, when I broke my fingers, which caused me to lose my job. And being a broke student, that was pretty tough for me. I did have access to a truck though, and I wanted to figure out how to turn that liability into an asset. So I hit the Kijiji marketplace and the Facebook marketplace, and I was just looking for cash jobs. And I realized that a ton of people are posting piles of junks and saying, "Hey, I want this going, and I'll give you $90 to remove it." So fast forward to now, I kind of thought of an organized solution to that, and that would be Move. So Move is an affordable alternative to the home waste removal market, where homeowners can connect to a contracted driver in the area for service instantly. And our solution is a lot cheaper than going to a large chain. Our service is on demand. Since we're contracted, we'll always have a surplus of drivers. And then transparency is key. You'll see the price about how much it's going to cost before you even confirm the booking with us. So how Move works. Move is an app-based service where it's as easy as signing up, putting your address in, your credit card information, and then from a click of a button, you can be requesting to have your home waste removed, where a driver in the area will be matched up to you. He'll get your location, then you'll drive to your house, and then you just leave all your junk on the front step, and he'll pick it up, throw it in his truck, take it off, go straight to the dump. No worries there. And then from the driver's side, you just sign up with us, enter your vehicle information, insurance, and so on. And then you just leave your app open, so you're on call. And from there, you'll see requests in the area, and you can confirm the trip. And then you get the address, show up, take the stuff to the dump, drop it off, pay for the dumping fee, invoice the customer. You're all good there. And then our target market would be home renters. So me and my friend in the first year university trying to clean out our houses. Landlords make you throw out all your junk all at once. Homeowners, so if you have growing kids, you'll have a bunch of garbage like small bikes and just random equipment. And do-it-yourself renovations, so people tearing down their own drywall, tearing up a vanity, whatnot. And these three individuals are not only the customer segments we're catering to, instead we're trying to reach out to anybody. And just going off of the waste removal industry, it is extremely private, and it's very hard to get information, and it's also very competitive. But this is the one little bit of information that I was able to find, and it's 1-800-GOT-JUNK's market performance. And in 2016, across 3 countries, Canada, USA, and Australia, they generated $223 million in revenue. And I will say something about the market in Calgary alone. As of August 1st in 2020, there was over 230,000 trips through a municipality landfill by the public, so it would be residents, which is extremely busy, and I was very surprised to hear that, but it's apparently true. And then just going off of the competition here, you obviously got the large chains, 310 dump, 1-800 got junk, being expensive and not really that, and they are available. And then you got Kijiji, which is affordable, unavailable. Then you got Move, which is available, affordable. And then you got the do-it-yourself option, which is obviously the cheapest thing possible, but it's not always the option for people. And then competitive differences. So Move is a very different approach to the waste removal market. Our contracted waste removal service provides many benefits to our customers and our drivers, and we're going to be the first to market in Alberta for 2021. So Move is going to contract drivers rather than having a fixed amount of inventory. So with our contracted drivers, we can always be there to serve the customers. So messaging, you'll be able to message the driver and say, hey, it's better if you come around back rather than park out front, just easy stuff like that. You don't have to stress out. And then you can see the fee before confirming the trip. So you could just open up our app, see how much it would cost to have the junk removed. And then without even talking to us, you can say, yeah, I'm not going to go that route. And then on-demand service, you're obviously going to connect with the driver instantly because we're a contracted server, so it's service. So it's very easy to get a ton of drivers. And then just going over the pricing model, this is just breaking it down on how we actually charge the customer. So if I were to go through our service right now, I would pay for the booking fee, which would be $10. I'd pay for the distance traveled by the driver, $1.38 per kilometer. Time taken to travel to the landfill for the driver, which would be $1.25 per minute. Time taken for driver to load waste into truck. He's getting paid 92 cents a minute. A small insurance fee, and then I'm going to pay for the entire dumping fee as a customer. And then the company will take X% of the calculated total of all factors except the dumping fee. The dumping fee is paid by the driver and only the driver, and then it's reimbursed through the customer. And from my house to the dump under this cost platform with a load that's $25, it would cost $99. So just under $100, very affordable. And the same load would have costed $400 through a chain. And then our market entry strategy is just gonna be targeted ads on social media platforms, flyers and signs, have a ton of drivers sign up to work with Move. So they tell their friends about us and be like, hey, you should get some junk removed through Move so you can be matched up with me. And we wanna have a presence during spring cleaning in 2021. And the team, so I'm a 4th-year policy studies student in Mount Royal University. I have 4 years of sales experience, 4 years of customer service experience. I have experience with political parties and retail, and I'm a wannabe athlete, innovator, and self-proclaimed entrepreneur. And thank you.
That was so good.
Awesome.
I'm gonna say that was so good. Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
Really great, Kevin. Thank you very much. And if you were like a minute ahead of schedule too, which is really great pitching. We'll leave it now. We've got 10 minutes for Q&A for the judges.
I'll go first.
I'm really curious who you've spoken with for your target market. Like, how have you put in some calls? Have you talked to some homeowners about their availability?
So I've talked to a ton of people. I actually got to do my business as my department required internship through Mount Royal University. So I had 360 hours of work to do. So I just looked for resources everywhere. I would honestly go stand in front of like convenience stores in random neighborhoods and going like, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions? I get their demographic and everything, and I ask them a couple of questions about the service and everything. I've connected with previous customers of the large chains and elderly people, young people, everything. I've talked to a ton of people.
Good for you. Have you done any like collected their emails and got their contact details for some preliminary blast campaigns?
I do. I actually
Good
got
for
them
you.
all on my phone, and I don't really want to harass them, but maybe down the line I will.
Good for you. That's great. You've done so much market research. I love that.
Yeah, I liked how I really liked your pricing model for sure. I like that you can see the fee before confirming the trip. I've been there. I've totally been there where it's like, oh, this is what you're paying, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I am. It's nice also to have options, so I love that part. I really do like who, if you could have any mentor in the world, who would it be?
Probably Brian Scundamore, because he knows junk.
Nice.
And he's the founder of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, if you guys know that.
Yep.
We might be able to make that happen. He's actually a big part of EO.
Oh.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yep. 1-800-GOT-JUNK, we are customers.
Yeah.
We're in the construction development waste as well as the scrap. So yeah.
That's super
Awesome.
cool.
Aaron, you had a question?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I like how you kind of, the thought process from like, oh, we're really getting screwed by this business model to how do we fix it? Like, big kudos to that. I like to dig in a little bit more on thought process on pricing. Not that I care about the numbers specifically, but how did you research or go through the process of getting the pricing for travel time, for fuel, all that stuff? Like, what was the means to get to those numbers? Like, how did you develop that kind of theory?
So I just wanted something consistent from, I just based it off of where I live, and I wanted to stay under $100, because when I, in the summer, I had a pile of junk, and I called 1-800-GOT-JUNK just to see how much it would cost. And it was an insane price. And then I was like, you know what, with this, I kind of want it to be affordable, where the dumping fee is $25. I just want to make it a little bit more to go through the app rather than doing it yourself.
Right.
So I just nailed it under $100. So in all honesty, it's like $65 more to go through us than to do it yourself. So that's very affordable compared to 1-800-GOT-JUNK, where you could be paying like $350 more to go through a large company.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And obviously there's a lot of people out there that don't have the means of hauling their own stuff to the landfill. So, that addresses that problem for sure. I don't want to hog the airtime here by any means, but this is a very kind of Uber-esque type business model, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly what my mentor in the summer said. He was like, oh, so essentially just copy and paste the Uber model into junk.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, what do you think about that? And have there been any issues that you're aware of the Uber business model that you would kind of address?
So one of the main problems with the Uber model is, just for pricing, is surge pricing. So it's taking advantage of customers in the time of need. I'm sure everybody here has tried to order an Uber on New Year's, and it costs like $300 to go a block, which is very expensive. And definitely with something like this, you could not employ surge pricing into your platform, because say there's a natural disaster or something, and then a ton of people would be going through us, and it'd just be crazy prices for people who have lost everything.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
Love that. Yeah. I gotta say, you're also smart to think of garbage, because it's never going away. And the more people there are on the planet, the more garbage there is. It's definitely something that's never going to run out. So it's a really smart industry to think of. 100%.
Thank you.
I had a question, if we still have time, right? Cool. First of all, I love that you kind of pivoted off your situation of breaking all your fingers and having to find another source of income. I think that's great entrepreneurial spirit. I just had a question a little bit on the marketing side. So I think that's great that you're using like the flyers to reach out to maybe the less tech savvy people, like the elderly, but also doing social media, maybe doing targeted ads on that. My question is, 1-800-JUNK is such a common household, that's your go-to first thing that comes to mind. how do you plan on competing with that? Because they kind of have that huge market share and that is like top of mind in every household. Like, have you maybe thought of partnering with renovation companies and getting business referred to from them, or any other strategies?
So right now our main strategy is to try to make Move a super, super good employer where a ton of people sign up and they'll be relaying it off to their friends like, hey, you should sign up for this as well, or hey, you should go through the app and maybe I'll show up to your door. And just another thing from the growth perspective, just in the future, and you mentioned partnerships, something that could be very beneficial for us is to partner up with like charities such as Habitat for Humanity and the Salvation Army, because say somebody is to get rid of a full dining room table set and that's it, our driver could recognize that and communicate with the charity and just instantly take it to the drop off. And that way you save the customer money too, because they don't have to pay for the dumping fee, and it just reflects positively on us.
Right. Yeah, word of mouth is huge.
Yeah.
So you found, you got a link to your mentor. What would be the next person or connection you would need to move this forward?
Next person or connection, probably definitely somebody in marketing, because I am not creative at all. I've spent about 4 hours trying to make that small pamphlet. It was very hard.
You did great.
That aspect. Oh, why, thank you. So it'd definitely be something in marketing, or actually maybe insurance as well, because this is definitely something that we should have a strong insurance side to in case a driver is to get injured.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not too sure who's a marketing whiz or an insurance whiz, so I'll just have to keep on and try to find out through there.
I like that you're thinking like that.
Are there any other questions?
I think we have a couple minutes. If I could jump, sure. If you don't mind, I like to dig in a little bit. So like, let's just say the business takes off as planned. How do you see it kind of, growing beyond it? Like, what are your thoughts? Are you thinking big? Are you thinking, let's just dominate this sector? Or is it something you feel like is scalable beyond the initial kind of idea?
Like scalable beyond waste removal into something else, or?
No, like still staying with that theme of essentially picking stuff up. But like, I guess I think about things like, people are getting increasingly conscious about putting a bunch of junk in landfills, right? With this business model, this is something where you could bring to the table to say like, you know what, we might be able to just connect some people's quote unquote junk with other people's kind of desires. And you're essentially helping them recycle to a certain degree. Is that something you've kind of thought about a little bit, or?
Yeah, like specifically, I mentioned it before, the charity drop-offs, with like
really
people's
like
home furniture, and then just another pivot. It's not even in the waste removal industry at all, but if we are to nail the point-to-point delivery system with no worries whatsoever, we could honestly be kind of a courier service where if some people are doing small moves like apartment to apartment, we can have a driver help out with that.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that thinking. Yeah. I think it's definitely kind of a scalable idea. That's why I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Don't mind me.
Oh, it's a great questions. Okay, well, we are at the 10 minutes. Kevin, thank you very much. We're going to now give the judges 5 minutes to fill out their forms, and then we'll pick up the next person. I believe is Benjamin that will be coming in. So next up we have Benjamin. Benjamin, do you want to give a quick minute intro to everyone? And then once you're done, I'll give you 10 minutes to start your pitch.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Ben. It's really cool to be here virtually in front of you all today. The only downside of this is that I wish it could have been in real life, because I think the experience would have been even better. But anyway, yeah, that's it's not a minute, but that's my intro.
Wonderful. Well, then I will start you. You can start your pitch and you have 10 minutes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Pierman. I'm a Mount Royal University student, and the founder of Chinook. So Chinook is a sports technology company attacking the opportunity to become a dominant player in the small but rapidly growing industry of disc golf. Now, before I dive into the business details, I think it would help if I told you a quick story about how I got here. So if you met me 10 years ago, I can almost guarantee your impression of me would have been pretty bad. I was actually at the bottom of my classes in school. There wasn't really anything I took seriously. It was all a big joke. And for a long time, I was actually just considering dropping out of school altogether. I once asked my grade 8 math teacher what he thought my greatest skill was. And he said, well, you're really small, so you can hide them from things pretty easily. And to be fair, he was right, I was pretty small. So how did this guy end up trying to start a disc golf company? Well, to get there, I just have to rewind a little bit more. So this is 1-year-old me. Now, little did I know that around the time that this photo was taken, my father had been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. His neurologist told us that he had about 2 months to live before the tumor took over his critical brain functions. And apparently, when he heard that, my dad said something like, no, I'm gonna live long enough to go skiing with my son, because skiing was his favorite sport. He just really loved it, which is actually funny considering he's from Saskatchewan. But anyway, it turns out he was right. And by some miracle, the tumor went into remission about a year after the terminal diagnosis. So we ended up getting to ski together quite a bit, which was really great. And looking back on this, it taught me a really valuable lesson that the only time that you truly fail is when you give up altogether. So of course, it took me a long time to realize that. And for most of my childhood, I was actually just angry because my dad was around, but he wasn't really there because the cancer had left him with progressive neural degeneration. And so as I started getting older, his psychosis got worse and worse. And when I was in grade 10, it got so bad that he had to be permanently moved into a psychiatric ward. So something about watching reality just sort of slip away from him sort of triggered something in me, because I was seeing him, there he was desperately fighting this condition he had no control over. And then there was my mom constantly working so that she could take care of him and provide for us. And then there I was just thinking about dropping out of school because I just didn't like going. So after that happened, I decided something had to change. And my mom always wanted me to go to university, since at the time she was the only person on both sides of my extended family with a degree. But unfortunately, I was at Bonus High School and I had been placed in all the lowest stream classes, which don't let you go to university if you take those. So I went to the administration and I asked them to bump me up into the normal streams for all the core classes. But I didn't have a very persuasive argument other than, trust me. And they were like, no. And I was like, I have to go to university. And they were like, sorry, man, your grades aren't good enough. But so hearing that really upset me. And I just hated the idea of someone else deciding my fate for me. So I decided what I had to do was just find a solution my own way by transferring to this school. So Bishop Carroll is a self-directed learning high school. Basically, there's no mandatory classes, and it's on each student to complete the courses that they need in time to graduate. And luckily, I was accepted there, and it was a totally different experience. I felt like the CEO of my own life. I graduated on time and was accepted into Mount Royal, where I've been on the honor roll each semester. In my first year here, I took the Entrepreneurship 101 class and instantly fell in love with it. I declared it as my major and also took a minor in finance. And I knew that what I wanted to do was start my own business. So things were going pretty well. I was enjoying my classes, and at the time I had a cool job as a professional photographer. But then in January of my third year, something happened. My dad finally passed away after getting pneumonia in the care facility. And it sounds sad, but this was actually not really a tragic event for me. His condition had been sort of constantly dwindling, and I really hated watching him suffer. I could see that he was trapped in this limbo-like state for a long time. And it was just the right time for him to go. It actually felt like a massive weight of anxiety had been lifted off of me. And it also made me realize something really important, that I had to start a business right now, just because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you want to do something, you should just do it today. And from there, my path forward just became like totally obvious. I was going to start $1 billion financial technology company, which actually didn't work out. But it did teach me a lot of really, really valuable lessons. I actually took that idea and I got into MRU's Launchpad Accelerator, where I got some incredible advice from one of Canada's top innovators. I poured myself into the idea, but it just didn't feel right. It felt like I was swimming upstream through mayonnaise or something. And it felt like no matter how hard I worked, I wasn't getting any traction or progress. And I started doubting myself, maybe I'm just not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And then I remembered what my dad said about how he was going to be able to go skiing with his son. It wasn't like, I'm going to make them enough money. He wanted to be able to share something that he was really passionate about with me. So I took a step back and I started thinking about the things that we're really passionate about, that I was really passionate about. And two things were stuck in my mind, and that was sports and technology. And so I started looking for opportunities within the sports that I was already passionate about. And it became clear that there was one particular industry that was ripe for innovation, and that's disc golf. So I've been an avid disc golfer for the last 6 years, and I've watched the industry change and grow over time. And I'm also intimately familiar with the problems that exist in the sport. So what are those problems? Well, I spoke with over 100 disc golf players and confirmed that the biggest problem in disc golf is that people lose discs all the time. A disc costs around $25, which doesn't seem like much, but trust me, it adds up. And people actually spend hundreds of dollars a year on discs. So I knew I had to jump on this, but I was curious if there was any other problems that I could solve with technology. I didn't just want to make a product, I wanted to start a company that could accelerate the sport into the future. So I posed a question to the online disc golf community. What would they want to see in disc golf training technology? The thread got an incredible response, with many people expressing their intent to buy the product and giving their own valuations of how much they'd be willing to pay. So we scraped the thread for the most popular ideas, and we got to work on testing feasibility and product design. Finally, we came up with this. This is the ARC. It's a device that allows you to spend more time perfecting your game and less time searching for lost discs. It uses Bluetooth Low Energy to connect directly to your mobile device, allowing you to locate your disc in seconds. It also has an array of sensors which use our own unique AHRS sensor fusion algorithms to measure the force and angles that are applied to the disc during the player's drive. That data gets interpolated and gives the player suggestions on how they can improve. So we aren't just stopping there. We're currently working on 2 other products that we can launch while the ARC is under development. The Andromeda, which is the first disc golf disc to be designed and manufactured in Western Canada. And the second is the ARC Lite, which is just a shaved down, ultra affordable version of the ARC for players who just want to be able to find their lost discs. Of course, anyone can build something, but can we sell it? Startups are risky, especially when you're developing hardware. So we spent a lot of time validating that the strategy would work by talking to customers and strategic partners. As of right now, we have 8 retail stores and several clubs and organizations that are ready to purchase our products, with several more in our sales funnel. We plan to continue forming deals with retailers across North America and eventually other continents as well. Our first product, which is the Andromeda Distance Driver, is being released this Christmas and serves to provide early revenue, increase the brand awareness, and establish a network of retailers before we release our more risky product, which is the ARC. And luckily for us, there's no Nike in disc golf yet. The market is still small, but it's growing quickly, and there's lots of room for new companies to take on the dominant forces. The largest competitors are Innova and Discraft, together controlling about 75% of the North American market, thanks to their high volume and in-house manufacturing. But they've been selling the same products for the last 20 years. Tobu created the first trackable disc and had a successful Kickstarter campaign. However, they only created a single model that was really, really specific, and they haven't been able to continue growing because of their niche offering. Now, I wouldn't have made it this far without the incredible network of advisors that I had. So last winter, I participated in the MRU Launchpad Accelerator and joined the Founders Circle. I loved that collaborative experience, so I applied to Platform Calgary's Student Incubator Program, which I completed in August. I was also lucky enough to be selected by MRU to participate in the 150 Startups competition, which led me to winning first place at this year's Innovation Rodeo Pitch Competition. And of course, I've built relationships with many strategic partners, which has given me the courage to proceed with this venture.
Okay. Thank you, Benjamin.
Yeah.
So that's the end. Sorry, we have to cut it off at 10 minutes. And there's some opportunity now. You have 10 minutes for Q&A.
Okay.
That was the hardest thing for me to do, but.
That's okay.
Okay, I'll open it up to the judges, and you've got 10 minutes for questions.
Who's gonna go first?
Go for it, Aaron.
Go for it, Aaron.
I'm not quite ready.
Okay.
Okay. I've got a question. No, I don't. Never mind. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
You did great. You answered a lot of questions, like the stuff that I was
Yeah.
formulating in my mind about your
Yeah.
market research, about your target, the story, your grit, your determination. At the end, when you talked about a lot of the different groups you've joined, like that's phenomenal. You've clearly tested your idea really well. I guess what's next for you? Where do you go from here?
Yeah. So right now we're working a lot on product development. Like I just said, we're launching the first product, which is just a disc golf disc. That's coming out this Christmas. So I'm spending a lot of my time doing the design for manufacturing right now with our partners and stuff. And I'm also just sort of constantly trying to grow our network of retailers so that luckily I have two co-founders that are really, really good at hardware and software. So they're sort of spearheading that product development while I lay the foundation for when we launch it. But yeah, that's what takes up most of my time is product design and getting a bigger network of retailers, more business development.
Sales. Amazing.
I really liked that you told a story. That was great. And I liked that you looked into what the willingness to purchase is in your target market. I guess my only question that I had was how do you plan on acquiring some of the customers that Innova, Tobu, and Discraft currently have? And have you looked into your customer acquisition costs?
Yes. So definitely Innova and Discraft are like the big dominant forces here. And they've been around for such a long time that it is hard to compete with them. Luckily, geographically, I'm in a very unique location where, like I said, this is the first disc golf company in Western Canada. So from what I actually didn't want to start this company until I had proof that people in Western Canada specifically were going to be stoked about it. And that's actually what sort of sparked this whole thing, was that everyone I talked to, all the customers, all the retail stores were very excited about that. So my plan is basically to create a dominant presence in Western Canada first and expand across the country, and then go south into the United States where Innova and Discraft are more prominent. And my primary sort of value proposition to get around their sort of dominant presence in the States is our more innovative products, which is the ARC. That's something that's never been made yet. So I'm hoping it'll sort of be like a supplementary relationship between the two products, where the brand awareness from the ARC works better in places where Innova and Discraft have a strong presence. And that leads to higher sales in the Andromeda, like the normal discs.
Could you take this technology and branch it out into other? Oh, sorry, Jessica, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
You had another question. I was just curious in like your long-term vision, because this is with disc golf. Could you apply this to another sport? Like, is that part of your growth strategy, or you want to just totally focus in on the disc golf market? Curious.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I love that. And so like, it's like I said earlier in one of my slides, like my passions are sports and technology. So other than disc golf, I love skiing, like backcountry skiing. I love climbing, ice climbing and stuff. I'm honestly like pretty much all of it I love. So actually specifically, I was thinking about tennis could be a good future road for this sensor, just because the algorithms we've developed would work quite well because it's similar motion. So other sports definitely are in the works, but right now we're only a team of 3 people. So, and disc golf is for sure, like disc golf is the market that I know really well. And it's also like a really good market, I think, because it's at this like inflection point in its growth.
Very cool. And great research too.
Thanks.
You've clearly done your
Really
research. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting in this situation that you're that close to launching a product. I would say you've probably seen some speed bumps along the road. So like, can you walk us through some of the speed bumps, how you address them, you know, what it did for your mindset or your business in general?
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing really comes to mind there is that so originally when we started developing this, like we had the idea for a disc that could be trackable and also help players train. But for a long time, I was sort of caught up in the notion that like if people were going to buy it, it had to be like the technology had to be integrated inside of a disc, and we had to be selling them a disc with tech inside of it. So we started working with an engineering firm on that idea. And we realized pretty quickly that it was going to be like really, really hard to do. No one's ever, it's hard to get electronics inside plastic when you're injection molding.
Yep.
So it was going to be a really expensive design, this thing. And so I was like, no, people, that has to be it or else no one's going to buy it. And then eventually I got convinced by some advisors in my network that I should actually I should test that. And that's sort of where that poll came in. Where I realized I actually was asking people within that thread, you know, what would they think about, well, people actually had the idea, like if it could be inside of a disc. And I found out that people were actually willing to spend less money on a disc with technology inside of it. And they'd be willing to spend more money on just a device they could attach to their own discs, which was actually perfect because like that's way, way easier, like just like several magnitudes easier to design something like that. And people are willing to pay more for that as well. So it was originally the huge roadblock was like, how am I going to get like $300,000 to $400,000 to fund product development for like a disc with electronics in it? And that's like, but then like, I realized that wasn't even the roadblock because we could just like totally go around it and like get to market like way, way, way faster. There's a million other things as well. Like I had to learn CAD software to design because I do all the product design myself. Like that was like its own challenge. And I've had to learn about like I have a really good friend who's an aerospace engineer, and he's given me he's like spent hours explaining the aerodynamics of how discs fly so I could design that and stuff. And had like learning. Yeah, a lot of learning.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's interesting. So as you look to scale, how do you think about access to capital and things like that? Are those things that you're realizing going to need to be addressed down the road, and how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's always in the back of my mind, right? So one avenue that probably, as of right now, is like avenue number one is I've gone through the Alberta Innovates like intake process, and I have a TDA assigned to me. So I'm most likely going to be going after their grants for startups, for tech startups. I so far have really good progress with them. They seem like pretty excited about it. So it's on me right now to finish that application. But they only pay for, like, I have to cough up 33% of the cost as well. So for that aspect of it, I've been either looking at like trying to find an angel investor, which there was a couple people that sort of came to me, but I didn't think it was like the perfect fit. So I'm still looking. And then the other option that I sort of like more is doing a sort of like a Kickstarter or something like that.
That's great.
I have a question. Have you always been like this? Like when you were a kid, did you always have like these ideas like, hey, I see that, and if, you know, or something's missing from there, I think this could fit that spot, or how can I make that better? Or like, did you have a mind like that all the time when you were a kid? Or is
Yeah,
this something
totally.
you developed later on as you took your entrepreneurial course? Or is it just something you're kind of geared towards?
Oh, yeah, that's a cool question. Definitely, I actually think that's part of the reason my teachers didn't like me early on is because I like always questioned what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like I would get in trouble because I was like, why does it have to be this way? You know, like,
yeah.
like what if we did this instead? And that's sort of, I still do that. Like my girlfriend tells me that all the time. She's like, why can't you just like go with the flow?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm just a critical person, but I like to imagine sort of how things could be.
Great answer.
Yeah.
So do we have time for one quick last question, or?
Is this something you're planning on doing fully or full time after you've graduated from MRU?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna do this full time ideally, ideally I won't have to get another part-time job. I want to definitely put that off if I can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm totally committed for sure.
Cool.
Thank you, Benjamin. That was great. Benjamin and Kevin, I'm going to move you guys back to the student room then, and the judges have their 5 minutes to fill out their forms. Benjamin, you have the option now. You can either come back if you'd like when the next, or you can just log back on, however you stay in the breakout room or log back on. It's up to you. So you can decide what you'd like to do after you move to the other room. I'll send out a broadcast message to you guys when it's all ready.
Great job, Ben.
Thanks.
Good
job.
job.
Okay, so Julia, welcome and thank you. We'll ask that if you'd like, can you just give us a quick, give the judges a quick intro, and then once you're done, you'll have 10 minutes for your presentation and 10 minutes for Q&A, and we have a hard stop on the presentation for 10 minutes. So, but yes, if you could just give an intro of yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Julia. I think I'm a 6-year undergrad student now at the UC. I'm studying kinesiology and business with a concentration in operations management. I also work in sustainable procurement and software procurement. And I'm excited to share with you my startup that I'm co-founding.
Excellent, thank you. Now, if you'd like, you can share your screen at any time, and then just let me know when you're ready to go, and your 10 minutes will start when you're ready.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, ready to go.
Okay, and we can see your screen. Have at her. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Julia, and I'm going to share my journey with you today. So when I first started university, I was set on pursuing medicine. I had no interest in entrepreneurship, and I was horrified of public speaking and public presentations. Moving forward, initially I was only going to enroll in kinesiology, and I found out that the UC has a dual degree program in kinesiology and business, and you can essentially get 1 degree in 4 years, or you can get 2 degrees in 5 years. So I figured, you know what, I'm still interested in medicine, but I might as well get another degree and get the most of my university experience and learn practical knowledge along the way. So I enrolled in both, again, still very interested in medicine, didn't have that much interest in business. And the more I learned about business and studied it, the more I discovered this passion for it. And the reason for this is, initially going into it, I had this perspective of business being snakes and sharks and all about the bottom line. And that didn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. And the more I learned about it, and the more I learned especially about how modern business is, the more I became passionate about the idea of a social enterprise model and how empowering it can be to start your own company and have a value system in your decisions and make decisions based on how you can most impact society and the role that business can play in that. So after discovering this new passion, I got my hands on any healthcare, entrepreneurship competition that I could. And I really honed in on my pitching skills and my public speaking. And I had a lot of good pitches, I had a lot of bad pitches, and I learned a lot along the way. And I've really found the perfect intersection of all the things I'm really passionate about and using that as a social enterprise model to benefit society. And I can't wait to present it to you today. So I'm a co-founder of Retina Logic. This might be hard to do over Zoom, but do any of the judges know someone who's had glaucoma, or have they been diagnosed with glaucoma themselves? Right, so it is a pretty common condition. Yeah, it is pretty common, all spread out around the world. And what this looks like when you have glaucoma, it's very gradual, and slowly you kind of start to lose the brightness until everything goes black. Will you go blind? 246 million people have lost their vision globally, disproportionately affecting developing countries. But 80% of those cases could have been prevented with our current technology and with our treatment capabilities, if they were caught early. There are two tests that are very important for optic health, and I'm sure you've had them before, or I hope you've had them before. There's the visual field test and there's the retinal image test. And these are the machines. These are what the current machines look like. Will you go blind? In Canada, probably not. However, 50% of people in Canada don't go for eye screening, even though 60% of them are likely to have eye conditions and could be damaging their eyes as we speak. Why is this? Especially in Canada compared to developing countries, what barriers exist that are stopping people from getting their eyes checked? Accessibility is a big thing for Canadians. 29% of them don't have a practicing ophthalmologist in their area. This is especially true for rural communities and northern communities as well. Cost. Access to primary care services, even with our healthcare system, can be out of pocket, especially for Canadians who are at risk. And asymptomatic. A lot of Canadians don't see the value of going to the optometrist because they don't think there's anything wrong with their eyes. But as I showed you with the glaucoma example, a lot of eye conditions progress slowly, and you might not realize that you have something wrong until it's too late. Our software solution enables care providers to use virtual reality and portable retinal cameras to perform these routine visual screening tests for a fraction of the cost, while also assessing the risk of conditions in their early stages. So I'll show you what this means. This means with our software, we can go from delivering the routine tests from this to this. So our software enables the optometrist to use these devices and implements machine learning algorithms as well to detect conditions sooner and earlier. This means that patients can perform the test at home or at the clinic, which will be very important if COVID-19 measures continue. In addition, it costs 90% of the cheapest current alternative for visual field testing. And we've implemented our risk assessment module that leverages machine learning to find patterns in your retinal image and ideally identify early detection of glaucoma and moving on into other conditions as well. This is what the business model will look like. There's a lot of details on the slide, but I want you to understand that we would be charging a subscription model of $150 per month with ideally a 2-year commitment. This would allow us to offset the cost of the virtual reality goggles. In addition, we would be charging around $50 a month per risk assessment module. So the first risk assessment module we are conducting is for glaucoma. And using the revenue from this, we will follow our social enterprise model and deliver the same portable solution to NGOs for a mass global vision screening project. When compared to the competition, we're the only one that's portable, has embedded algorithms, is the cheapest, and also has a social enterprise and value-based business. So far, we've made a lot of progress. Our visual field prototype is finalized. We have tested the deep learning model for glaucoma on the retinal image. There's 3 different models that are applied. We have also formed an NGO partnership strategy with Operation Eyesight. They have over 150 clinics internationally. We have met with decision makers from the largest Canadian eye care provider, including their CFO. And we have a follow-up demo meeting scheduled with them in May. This is our 1-year plan. I know there's a lot of information on the slide, but all of the details are really important. What I really want you to take away from this is that in order to move on to the clinical testing stage, we need funding to finalize the UI design. After finalizing this, we can launch the VR beta, conduct clinical testing, and present our results in our meeting with the CFO in May 2021. After this, we would apply for an FDA Class 1 certification. We would deploy a pilot program with Operation Eyesight. Using all of the images collected from this pilot program, we can develop our machine learning models and have the most precise algorithm on the market. In addition, this would dually work as a marketing opportunity to market to the volunteer physicians that are using the system. In order to get there, we would need $10K for the UI developer to finalize our last step of development. Then we would move on to clinical testing, and we could do this for cheaper, but we want really good quality data. So we're budgeting $10K to recruit patients and get as much data as we can. After this, we would need FDA Class 1 certification for the virtual reality launch. Our 5-year exit strategy is to sell the virtual reality algorithm to Facebook for use on their Oculus Go machine, and to sell their retinal disease model algorithm to Google. They're currently working on a similar one for diabetic retinopathy, but there's nothing on glaucoma or other conditions that they're working on. So this would perfectly pair with their current work. Our vision is a social enterprise that's built on the vision of affordable, precise, and accessible vision testing for all. And in order to achieve this, we've set these 3 5-year goals. And the one we're the most dedicated to is delivering our solution through NGOs to impact 2 million people experiencing barriers not only outside of Canada, but also inside Canada. On our team, we have our PhD candidate in machine learning, Abdullah Sarhan. There's me, the business lead, and our clinical lead is an optometry intern with a passion for technology. And I want to leave you with this thought. 246 million people have lost their vision globally. 80% of this could have been prevented. We can prevent it. Help us reach the finish line. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Julia. That was a really great pitch. I am going to, if you can stop sharing your screen if you'd like, and then I will now pass it over to the judges, and they have 10 minutes to pepper you with questions.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Can I just say, I'm not sure I have questions, but I have a couple comments that I want to
absolutely
talk about for sure. Love your branding. Awesome branding.
Thank you.
Amazing branding. Yeah. I absolutely love how you took 2 passions, healthcare and business, and combined them. That's certainly a recipe for, success in what you're doing. I fully believe that. I love that you also addressed the current state of the world, COVID, and how this fits into that. It's always really important, as you know, to look at what's happening now and how this might change the future. And yeah, I think incredible, honestly incredible. I love it.
Thank you.
And then the way you effectively communicated your business and its vision, I was so impressed. I literally have no questions for you because you answered them all. It's unbelievable. So I'll stop.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah, you obviously put a lot of thought and research into this. I think it's great that you have a tech person as well as a medical person on your team and have obviously got a lot of insight from that. I guess my only question would be, I know with medical devices and any medical related product like you've illustrated, it takes a really long time for them to get approved. And the approval process is really stingy. So are there any barriers that you see along the way? And what would happen in the event that you didn't get the certifications for the product?
Yeah, and that's a good question. For the virtual reality, it would be the lowest classification of FDA approval. And we actually know this because there are virtual reality competitors. That was one of the competitors that I showed in my slide, and they are FDA Class 1 as well. So that one would be around $5,000, and the process would take maximum 4 months. That's worst case scenario. I guess you can never accurately identify what worst case scenario is, but the longest we've heard is 4 months. And then the harder one would be getting the actual algorithm approval, because it would be making a recommendation to the optometrist, like saying they're 80% at risk of glaucoma. So that one would need significant investment and significant time. So that's why we want to move forward with first the virtual reality, and then second, after we've gained revenue from that, to fund the FDA process for the second part, which is the algorithm.
Awesome. Thank you. Great job.
Yeah. I kind of mirror Leslie. I'm just like, you did such a beautiful presentation, your timeline, your rollout strategy, your exit strategy, your teams. I've asked this question before, but yeah, what's next? Like, what is the next introduction, the next person you need to keep moving this along? I know you said the money, but who else do you need to be connected with?
I think we would love to get connected with a lot more NGOs as well. So we have the one NGO connection, Operation Eyesight, but we want to help deliver this to as many people as possible. So more connections with NGOs and people who have experience forming a business to NGO partnership, because we don't have anyone with experience or knowledge on what that looks like or what best practices are in that space.
So you're looking more to partner with NGOs than you are optometrists then, like, or is?
So we would be selling it to optometrists in Canada, and then we would be delivering the solution to NGOs. Ideally, we don't want to charge NGOs, but it might not be feasible. So we'd be charging them definitely at a heavily discounted rate as much as we can. But we wouldn't be trying to make the revenue off the NGOs.
Right. Should you do like a B Corp model? Or it's like this, yeah. Very cool. My sister's an optometrist, so if you want her to test it out, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I may have missed this, but just for clarification, so who are your direct customers then? Like, who would be your clients? Is it the optometrists or is it individuals?
It would be the optometrist. So we would sell it, and we're hoping to sell it as an enterprise model to this Canadian eye care provider. But we could also sell to individual clinics, because optometrists can open kind of like their own individual clinics as well.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Any thoughts around how insurance would get involved with it? I'm sure you guys have gone down that road, but I mean, I think I speak for most people. You only go to the eye doctor when your insurance opens up to cover it. Like, is this something that works in that regard?
That's a good point. We haven't explored how insurance would impact it. We do know that optometrists charge $75 per visual field exam to the government or to private healthcare providers, and we're hoping that the cost would be reduced for them so that they can charge patients less. I'm not sure if that would actually translate, because that would be very difficult to adapt to, but we're hoping with a cheaper model they can deliver care at a lower cost.
Right. So essentially your argument is you're approaching optometrists to offer a cheaper alternative for full eye exams that their patients would sign up for.
And also there's a lot of different ways this could branch off as well. So it could be an at-home model. Again, if COVID continues, we could deliver the VR goggles to the patients, and they could kind of perform the test, put it back in the box, ship it back. There's also the point that our clinical lead brought up, that a lot of new optometrists, especially in rural areas, don't have the significant investment that's required to buy these big machines. So they would be our primary first wave customers, because they're looking to buy new machines and they don't necessarily have $10,000 lying around.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I like that. It's interesting. It seems like the business model is pretty advanced. Like, can you just walk us through some kind of big challenges you guys have had along the way and how you've addressed it? Especially, I mean, there's 3 people with very distinct skill sets driving the boat here. Like, how does that work?
It's definitely, do you want me to share my screen again, or just like share the experience?
Yeah, just experience is fine. Yeah, just kind of curious.
So it's been a lot of discussions and a lot of forming and storming kind of thing, and all of our skills and knowledge kind of perfectly complement each other. So I helped I was the main driver of putting together kind of the numbers and identifying what made sense. But basically, I contacted our technical lead and asked him how much it would cost to host the machine. And I contacted the clinical lead to identify how many patients an optometrist could see in a day and who, like, how many times they would run this test in a day, and connected how much that database storage would cost per patient, and then came up with a price based on that. That makes sense. We also incorporated the cost for the machine as well, so we'd be giving them the free virtual reality goggles, and the cost for insurance on those goggles as well.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. That makes sense. I don't want to hog all the questions.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm always curious on funding. You know, it seems like it's an issue you guys are facing right now. How are you approaching it? Curiosity.
We're applying for a lot of grants right now, and we've kind of just hit that last stage where it's like, okay, all we need is the $10,000 to finish this development. So we've kind of gone into hyperdrive applying for entrepreneurship programs and those kinds of programs. But we are also interested in connections with angel investors. That's something that we are definitely considering. But first, we want to try and get funding through other measures if we can.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
There's time for one last question. Does anybody have anything?
Love
Okay.
it.
If not, then I will move you guys back to the breakout room. And when we send the broadcast message for Logan for the last, then you're welcome to rejoin as well at the same time. And the judges have 5 minutes to do their speech. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia.
Great. And we have the last presenter is Logan. And Logan, if you would like to introduce yourself to the judges, and then you'll have 10 minutes for a pitch and 10 minutes Q&A. And then we'll send you guys all into, or you'll all stay here and the judges you're the last, and then the judges will move and do their deliberations. So would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Logan Grasby. I'm the founder of Quest Climbing. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it.
Wonderful. You should be able to share your screen, and then just when you're ready to start, just let me know and I'll start the timer once you're ready.
Great. I see it on my screen,
There.
but let me know.
Now we're good. We've got it. So,
okay.
yeah. Are you ready to go?
I am, yeah.
Okay, you're on. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. As I said, my name is Logan. I'm the founder of Quest Climbing. And to start today, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself. So I started climbing around 10 years ago, and it has taken me on an incredible journey. But actually, the reason that I started climbing was because of my parents, because actually I have ADHD, and they, when I was younger, needed something to help me cope with that. And exercise helps a lot. And so they tried everything. They tried swimming, they tried water polo, they tried soccer. And it was only until they tried climbing that this actually worked. And I think that the reason is because that I was actually had this risk involved. And this risk aspect is actually what allowed me to force myself to focus. And it really helped me with my everyday life. But that was just the beginning of the story. Because ever since then, I've been going on these incredible adventures. I've been going all across Canada, and I've been setting my sights to the highest peaks and been working and training and trying to build my skills so that I can achieve some of the hardest climbs in Canada. And so by building these skills, I did something that I didn't realize, that I started to build my own confidence. I started to realize that I can set my sights to something and I can actually get there. I can push through incredibly difficult situations and I can still succeed and achieve the result that I want. And so I felt empowered, I felt confident, and I started to take this to the other parts of my life. And then I realized something, that I can do this to other people. I can actually bring this feeling and give it to other kids. And so I started to be a climbing instructor. I did all the certifications and I started to work in climbing gyms, but I didn't stop there. I decided I wanted to work as an outdoor guide, because that's where you actually experience the risk. And that's where I can actually show children what they're capable of and what they can do. And then I got to watch them up on high cliffs build their confidence, which was incredibly rewarding. But through all of these more amazing experiences I've had, one of the most amazing was that I actually got to coach a climbing team. And it was coaching this climbing team that really made me realize what I'm capable of doing. Because I got to take this team from just beginner climbers all the way to the national climbing competition in Canada. And I got to watch them as they were able to succeed something they thought they could never do. And it was this experience that made me realize that I have this ability to manage risk from climbing. And I have this confidence that I can apply as an entrepreneur. And now I can take this to the next level, because I can actually continue this journey of empowering young people, but as an entrepreneur. And so I partnered with the owner of this climbing gym, and we created a product that I believe does exactly that. It is the Quest Home Climbing Wall. It is a modular climbing wall designed for young kids, and it is what I think is the perfect solution. It is modular, so it can be any size. It's easily installed by the customer, and it's completely customizable by both the color and the design of the panels. Our customers loved it. We installed these in several homes around Calgary, and we heard great things. As you can see, one of our customers right here is quite happy, but the parents loved it too, and they're the ones paying for it. And we even installed this one in a day home and had many kids use it. And we had great feedback. And so we knew it was time to take this product to the next level. And we thought we had everything to do that. My partner had manufacturing experience, I had business experience. And then we started working on the climbing holds, and we actually made those as well. We learned how to make those. And we were ready to launch a project. And then something that you might have heard of, COVID-19 happened. And so my partner who owned the climbing gym, he had to declare bankruptcy. And he was not able to take the risk of joining this business with me. And while this was unfortunate, I wanted to continue. I desperately wanted to continue. And so I tried my best. And another thing was happening that you won't have heard of. There was a massive amount of people who wanted home climbing walls in their homes because all of the gyms were closing because of COVID. So now all of a sudden people are ordering hundreds of climbing walls from me, and I don't know how to make them. It was a disaster. I went to my dad's garage from our workshop, and I ordered 120 gallons of polyurethane resin, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I learned quick. And I spent all day throughout the summer, every day, making climbing holds in this room. It was hot, it was horrible. I would not recommend it, but I did it. I sold thousands of climbing holds to people across Canada, across the US, all the way down to Texas, and not done. Because once everything cooled down in August, I wanted to continue. So I had my original design, but I reached out to Mount Royal and I said, I want to learn more. I want to be able to actually make this a real product. So they connected me with engineers. They connected me with product designers. They connected me with interior designers, and they connected me with people who have actually started manufacturing businesses. And I was able to design a product that I believe is the final version. Now, here's a 3D rendering of what it might look like. It's essentially larger and has a mount on the back that makes it easier for the customer to install themselves, which is a key aspect of the product. It also, with a partnership with a local art studio, we were actually able to create original art pieces and repeatable art pieces on the panels themselves as an option. And this isn't possible without our partnership with Fuse 33, which is a manufacturing space that provides incredible equipment like this CNC laser, but even more importantly, it connects me with people who are manufacturers, they are business owners, and they are the only reason that I even know how this thing works. And so I've had these incredible opportunities to be able to connect with them, and it is probably the only reason that I'm able to keep this going. Now, let me tell you about the industry, the climbing industry. It's projected to grow by 1.6 billion by 2023, and the growth is projected to continue at 7% per year. And the majority of this growth is projected to be in North America. Now, there's 141 million households in Canada and the US, and 37 million of those have children under the age of 12, or 500,000, for example, are in Alberta alone. Now, I'm going to get these to the customer first through direct-to-consumer sales. And I learned how to do this over the summer, and I know that I can ship these large parcels directly to the consumer, but it's better to have distribution. And so I want to partner with home developers, with showrooms, with climbing gyms, so that there's a physical space for people to see this product. Lastly, I want to partner with large retailers like Mount Equipment Co-op and REI to really get this product across Canada. This product retails for $2.99 per panel, and it's not the only product that Quest offers. We also offer modular home climbing wall mats. This is a unique product in that it's directly focused specifically on home climbing wall mats. I designed this myself, again, not knowing what I was doing at first, but I reached out to people who were designers of similar martial arts mats and got feedback and did some product testing, was able to come up with something I think is a perfect accessory product. The climbing holds are going to come back better than ever because they're now not manufactured in my dad's garage. They're now manufactured professionally by a company called Durfreen in Calgary, and they are going to use plastics that can actually allow me to sell these now to climbing gyms so that I can open a new market, and I'm really excited about that. So I project that I'm going to be able to sell 100 units in the first year. These are 5 panels per unit, so that's per wall. And then in the second year, I'm going to add 4 distributors, so 100 units per distributor to reach 500 units. In the last year, I will add 2 large retailers that can do 500 units each to hit that 1,500 goal. Now, I've already hit 60,000 in revenue. I already have 1,200 people who are engaged across 3 social media accounts, 3 prototype installations, over 250 unique orders, and over 200 existing customers. And our competitors don't compare because this is the only product that is able to directly marketed towards consumers and not business to business. And it is completely customizable, and that we can do panels of all kinds of shapes and sizes and colors, and is really the perfect solution. I'm going to leave you with customer feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks so much, Logan. Can you can go back to your other view. You can stop your share if you don't mind. Perfect. And we'll leave you with 10 minutes for judges' questions. I loved how you ended.
Yeah, great touch at the end. That's super cute. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, you know what, that's neat. My sister actually just put up a little climbing wall. She would have bought this in a heartbeat had she known about that for her little kids. What a great idea and what a great story. I loved your presentation. Yeah.
It's a growing sport too. It's getting more and more popular all the time. I'm a backcountry adventurer myself. And so obviously I'm passionate about this because you said that. I'm also passionate about kids and positive experiences and positive ways to like kind of experience themselves and, you know, personal, like their little development as they're growing. Again, loved how you combine personal passion with your core competency. Unbelievable. I love the complexity with it's an art piece and a climbing wall. I think that was amazing. And one of the things I love about your business model is that it's a one-stop shop. So like you can get the climbing wall there, but you can also get the mats there. Because oftentimes it's a pain in the butt when you go to get one thing, but then you have to go search for the other thing. I know in my business, I focus all the time on core competency and one-stop shop. And like for me, you nailed both of those. I think this is awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mentioned to say that climbing was going to be in the Olympics. Unfortunately,
yes,
we didn't have an Olympics.
So excited. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay, I'm done.
I'm curious,
Yeah,
this almost has nothing to do with your presentation, but I mean, like, I'm thinking about those like cute little training videos for kids or shoes. Like there's just a lot of stuff you can build on top of this as well too, to like really connect with and share those stories. Like I especially, maybe this isn't for answer, but just, yeah, how you connect your journey as a child with ADHD and overcoming this and realizing you can do anything. And you're also connecting with these children, not only building walls, but do you have a thought about how you bridge the gap on kind of some of that education piece with them?
Yeah, I think, I have I have plans to create video content that I think
Cool.
do be a huge part of that. I'd like to create YouTube videos, that are kind of focused on, directly to this audience, because there's lots of videos on adult climbers and training, but I'd like to create content specifically for this audience.
Like a game too for the
Cool.
kid. Oh my God, so inspiring.
yeah.
Neat idea.
Yeah.
So do you guys have some questions for Logan? I feel like we should moderate this.
Thank you, Sashi.
I'll jump in with some questions. So obviously some long, hot days in your dad's garage. Was that, when you're in there hating life a little bit, like how do you think about like the business in general, whether you really want to do this? Like obviously super interesting business model. I think there's definitely a market for it. But I'm sure you realize it's not all easy as one thinks, and especially when you're sweating it out in your dad's garage, wondering what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And, I realized that, it's also toxic too. So it was kind of this horrible combination. And, it's one of the things that I learned from that is that you have to balance kind of self-care and, what you're trying to do. Because there was a point where, I'd be in there for 10 hours, I'd come out with like a horrible headache, probably, doing things to my body that I really shouldn't be doing. And then there was at some point where, I had a deadline. I had my website, your order will be shipped within 7 days. And then I was like, you know what, I need to start doing these slower so that I can feel better about this. And so I extended that deadline to 10 days and, things like that, where you just like, I guess, being cognizant of your mental health and your mental well-being, I think were really important for me then.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally true for sure. I was just looking at your one pager there, and it says final wall design November 10th. That was 2 days ago. How did that go?
Oh yeah, so I do have a final wall design that I'm now testing. It's surprisingly hard to find someone who's willing to let you tear their wall down, because part of the testing process is to really test it. I mean, like, take it, like, I'm going to do things to it that no one would ever do, to completely understand the material properties and what the lengths it can be pushed to. So I'm in that testing phase right now.
Yeah, interesting. So it seems like the holds have been outsourced, things like that. Like how do you think about protecting your margin when you start outsourcing things like that? When you go from like sweat labor of doing it in your dad's garage to outsourcing it, and I guess the other question is how do you think about margin protection for your business? Yeah,
and you know what, you're absolutely right. If I had, I guess, the ability to drop out of school, I would certainly, maybe consider like I could rent a space. And at one point I did look into that and then manufacture everything myself. But as I'm still a full-time student and working, I just kind of made the decision like, okay, I can accept these smaller margins and I can still go to school and still work. And I can just do the panels myself. And then, later I'm already thinking about how I can actually internalize this and improve my margins.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. That's a good answer.
I have a couple questions. I love that this is something that gets kids off of iPads and phones. So I think that's a great, you mentioned in your piece that kids spend so much time indoors. So I think this is a great alternative to, video games and kids under 12 being on YouTube, that type of thing. One of my questions was, are they able to move the pieces around, like the different, what are they called, the rocks that you have to?
The climbing holds, you mean?
Yeah, the climbing holds. Just because I know kids get super bored of things, or like they'll, like for me, for example, 1 month I was into guitar, another month I was into skateboards. Like, is there a way to kind of change them so they're always climbing like a different wall, essentially?
There is, yeah. So I currently have 60 unique shapes, and they are easily removable. It's just one tool, a couple turns, and then you can move it with a bolt to another hole. And so it's just using the standard system that a normal climbing wall, if you go to any of the climbing gym, would use, and those are designed to be quite easily removed. So yeah, and there's so much variety, because I mean, we already have 60, but I'm looking to double that to just have a huge amount of variety available.
Cool. That's awesome. And have you talked to any of these retailers that you've mentioned, or do you have a plan to speak with like MEC and stuff like that?
Yeah, I haven't talked to large retailers like MEC, and to be honest, that's something like I don't have any contacts that high up, but I would love to. I've talked to smaller retailers though, in like climbing gyms in Calgary, retailers like smaller retailers like Norseman is a small outdoor retailer in Calgary, and so I'd like to just get that experience with what it takes to negotiate with a retailer, and to do that on a smaller scale where there's maybe more leeway for mistakes on my part, and then once I gain that confidence, I can move into trying to talk with larger retailers.
Great, thank you.
Love it. Good strategy.
I have a last quick one then. Just curious, so I saw you guys have an Instagram account. This is something I'm always interested in general. Like, how do you find engagement of content? If you look at, obviously, social media can be double-edged sword to a certain degree, but if you think about what you're selling in theory more than just a climbing wall. You're selling lifestyle, you're selling a bunch of other things. So like, how's engagement on social media, I guess is the question. And is there anything interesting you've taken away from what you've kind of posted so far?
Yeah, so I've taken a unique strategy that maybe I'm thinking about changing it. But so the social media page you've seen is my business page. The page that I actually put more effort into is at Home Climbing Walls. And so it's a general page where I just post about other people's climbing walls and their experiences. And people write all kinds of things about, because they're really passionate about these walls they build themselves. And so I actually use that page to funnel people to my website. And I've got a lot of engagement that way. And that's purely, none of it or very little of it is actually advertising. It is just getting people excited about Home Climbing Walls, and then they just see my link. And so that, I mean, it's really, people are passionate, and I'm just, kind of fueling that passion. And that's my strategy right now. I don't know if I should maybe just put more focus on my business page, but.
No, I like that approach for sure.
Hey, thank you. And thank you, the four of you, for presenting. That was, all of it was amazing, and I actually don't envy the judges. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to move Erin, Jessica, Carly, and Leslie over to a judge's room, hopefully. And you guys can, you have 20 to 30 minutes. I'll pop in and see where you're at, just to compare and chat about the 4 pitches that you just heard. I'll leave you guys here, and as soon as I pop them over, I'll just come back to you. So judges, do you have any questions before I put you into the room, or just, you've got your scoring cards and everything?
Can I quit now so I don't have to partake in the next part?
Yeah. Nice try.
That was awesome. Thank you for organizing, everybody. Great pitches.
Yeah. You guys, Julia, Logan, Benjamin, and Kevin, the pitches were fantastic. And you could just, we were chatting with Ray and Emily and your advisors, and just the level of the caliber and the work that you guys put in, obviously well before your application came through in spades. So thank you for really giving us an enjoyable 3 hours and learned a lot as well. So I personally appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and the opportunity to develop too. I was mentioning this in the other chat or in the other students chat, but especially for like putting together that 4-page report, I think helped flesh out a lot of details and like helped me think more critically about a lot of things. So yeah, it's been good.
Good. So the winner of, you guys were all winners, but the person that we had to pick, or the judges had to pick, was Julia. Congratulations for your, you did a fantastic job. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll send you out an email with next steps and how we get your check to you and everything else, and we'll be in communication from there. And everyone else, you will have emails, and I will try and connect you with certain people and mentors that you wanted to connect with. We'll do our best to keep those relationships going and getting you, hopefully helping you with your next steps.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everyone. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was really tough.
Yeah, Julia.
Every year.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great job, Julia.
Great job.
Well, I didn't actually see your pitch.
Great
but,
job to everyone. Yeah, I wish I got to see your pitches. Well, I got to see yours, Logan, but I wish I got to see your pitches as well.
And Trisha, we were recording this, so we should be able to have a recording as well for everyone available, right? Will you
Yes.
be able to send them a link to the recording? Okay.
Absolutely. Congratulations to all of you, and Julia, congratulations especially. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And judges, thank you. We could not have done this had you not given up all of your whole afternoon. So thank you very much. And advisors, thank you for prepping. Appreciate it all, everyone. If anyone has any questions, send me an email, and you will hear from me in the next 2 or 3 days on next steps and intros.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.